are singing, skies are blue. The world's awake, it's time for you. Start it right, you know it's true. Anson in the morning.
Good morning. It's Anson in the morning. I'm here. You're there. It's morning. I've got my nice cup of coffee and my fat and spicy mug, and I am ready to fucking go. All right. So I've already had 2 cups of coffee. You can tell I'm a little wired, talking a little fast. I'm having a good morning. The kids are at school, but the wife is home today. She's upstairs, just chilling. It's always nice to have a couple days off without the kids around. Just sit in the bed in the morning and talk a little bit. We ordered breakfast. I got myself biscuits and gravy with scrambled eggs and some sausage, and we had it door dashed. Why not? Kids aren't here. If the kids were here, that would have been a $100 meal. They're not here. It cost us $30. Anyway, uh, I'm having a great morning. I've had a pretty good week. It's not been bad. I've been playing some games with some friends. Got back into Baldur's Gate 3 with my Critical Idiots team. If you guys are on PNS Studios, you can always go over to Critical Idiots and see our last D&D game that we played. And we're looking for a new DM, so we're kind of working on that right now. Also, we've got the Fat and Spicy show and all the other stuff we're doing here. I got to plug it all before we get going. So like, follow, subscribe, all that crap that I hate asking you guys for, because we got to support the algorithm, right? I mean, that is what we do. So the other day I was thinking about the algorithm. We just got done with Fat and Spicy, and I'm like, what is this algorithm exactly? Like, what does it do? How does it determine who gets pushed to the front of what shows get seen, what shows don't get seen? Because there's a million podcasts out there just like mine, and like this one, Anson in the Morning, and Fat and Spicy, that we try to conform to the rules. We keep things going. We keep the titles algorithm friendly. Shit, we even go on to the AI sometimes and be like, what? Here's what we're going to talk about this week. Make us an algorithm friendly title. And it's always crap. You can tell it's written by AI. It sucks. There's no human touch to it. So when I do put a human touch to it, we don't get views. When I don't put a human touch to it, we don't get views. Is it the content? Is it is it just us? Are we just a couple of schmucks that nobody gives a shit about? I mean, I'm sure we're not the funniest guys in the world, but we have our moments. Just like any other. I've listened to famous podcasts that I like, and I'm like, this guy just doesn't have it this month. He's put out 4 shows. He doesn't. Fucking Jacob's funnier than this guy. So I'm thinking about the algorithm, and I'm thinking about AI, and so I'm looking this stuff up, and I watched this YouTube video about AI and algorithms and whatnot, and it's a show called The Y-Files that I love, with AJ and this fish that he talks to, and it's all about conspiracy theories. And then he's like, well, the algorithm is part of something bigger, and it actually has to do with, like, it's not putting it out there, it's monitoring what we watch, how we watch, and it pushes stuff. And I'm like, but is this real? To quote AJ from the Y-Files, but is it real? Does this stuff really happen? And then I went down this fucking whirlwind of conspiracy theories, which is something I love. And let me tell you why I love them. Because I don't believe a fucking one. I want to. I want to believe that Sasquatch is out there, right? I want to believe that there's aliens at Area 51. We're going to get into this stuff today. All my favorite conspiracy theories and why I just think they're full of shit. So the algorithm got me going, thinking about the YouTube algorithms and AI, and is AI going to take over everything? And is it already taking over everything? And does it actually answer to an overlord, or, some person who's sitting there, everybody's like, well, what happens if the robots take over? I'm like, get a bucket of water. If I so much as sneeze on my laptop, the thing frizzes and freaks out and I'll never see it again. You know what I mean? This is my second microphone because I bumped it too hard one day. It's a machine. So can't you just throw water on it or hit it with an EMP or whatever? No, they're going to program themselves to be water resistant and this and that. Pull the plug. There's got to be a central power source. Anyway, I'll get off on that in a minute, but I do want to talk about conspiracy theories today. Like I said, the title of today is Conspiring to Conspire. So at the risk of sounding like Adam Ray when he's doing Dr. Phil, today we're talking about conspiracy. Now, Webster's dictionary. No. What is a conspiracy theory? Really, it's people conspiring to hide something, to progress an agenda, but Conspiracy means conspiring. And when you conspire, it's many people working together. So let's talk about the most famous conspiracy theory of all time, UFOs, and why I don't believe in them. I want to. And my whole thing got started with my dad. I remember when I was just a kid, it was like early 80s. And Bob Lazar hadn't come out yet talking about UFOs, and the Area 51 thing hadn't been revealed. But here I am in my bed talking to my dad. Like I said, early 80s. I wish I could have the guy on so he could tell me about it, but he was in the Navy. And he said that there was this place called Area 51 and they had a crashed UFO. Now, this wasn't common knowledge. Like I said, we're talking 1981, 1982. I'm like 5 years old. That's why this sticks in my head so far or so hard, is because I can put myself in my bedroom. It was Christmas. You know those bubble lights that you have, for Christmas? Look them up. There's little lights with water in them, and when they get hot, they bubble and they look like little candles. Anyway, I remember the bubble lights on in my room. I remember him sitting there telling me that they had a crashed UFO and that there were alien bodies. And I just had this thing in my head, like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever heard. And when you're a tiny kid, I mean, shit. So this kind of got my conspiracy spark burning, if I may. How did Dad know this stuff? I mean, he was in the Navy. He was a SEAL. He wasn't a SEAL. I'm sorry. He was UDT. So are these guys in Nam like knowing all this shit and like getting access to the? I don't know. But here's what I think about UFOs. I don't think there's little green men. I don't think that there are interdimensional travelers from beyond the moon. No, I think that it's all US and Russia and Germany and China. That's what I think. I think they're all drones, or they're all, you know, here's the deal. If you come from a million miles away, a billion miles away, whatever the fuck, light years, and you come to Earth, are you really going to have lights on your fucking UFO? You're going to be up there shining the lights for everybody to see? They're like, oh, the Arizona lights were witnessed by, 10,000 people and 100 cops. Well, why would you put lights on it? And even the government, why would you put lights on it? I don't get it. I mean, sometimes you'd have to put lights on it if you're the government. Oh shit, making sure we warn that 737 pilot going over Houston. So he sees us from a distance and doesn't come close, maybe, lights on a plane, whatever. But are aliens really going to put lights on their UFOs? No, come on. If anything, you'd think if they have the technology to come this far, don't you think that they would have the technology to cloak themselves or keep themselves hidden? There's a lot of this anti-gravity talk. Well, if you form an anti-gravity well, you can distort light and you can make yourself not seen. I don't buy it. I don't buy that we are the only life forms in the galaxy. I don't. But if we are, we're so far out of the way that why would anybody look for us? I mean, yeah, we're putting out radio signals, but we're still primitive. I mean, I'm not one to quote Neil deGrasse Tyson all the time. I think that he can get wrong on some things, and I think he's kind of a pompous guy when it comes to his science, but I love what he talks about, and I love his guests. His guests actually, I think, realize that he's a pompous guy sometimes. He's like, no, you're wrong. Let me tell you why you're wrong. It's like, fuck you, dude. Why don't you just, sit there and live your life and write a book every now and then? We don't need you on every talk show. We don't need you spouting whatever. I mean, I'm not saying that's garbage, but do you really need to be out there so much? So anyway, he said that, we've been putting out radio waves for what, 100 years, maybe at the most. When was the first radio wave sent? And I'm not talking TV. I'm talking like before Marconi. I think it was Antonio Meucci from Italy or something like that, like late 1800s. So for around 120 years or so, we've been putting out radio waves. But if they travel at a light year a second, that's only 120 light years, and there's not that many star systems that close. So who gives a shit about us out here? But he was like, it's like having a human talking to an anthill. Well, I don't think so, because they can actually communicate with us. We can't communicate with ants. There's got to be some way. So here's how I reconcile aliens. I do believe that it's the government with their planes and their tests and their secret UFO programs, because I do believe that back in World War II, maybe, just maybe, they solved the anti-gravity problem. But do I think it's aliens and little green men? Absolutely not. I think that's a bullshit story so that we focus on that instead of on the actual thing, which is, Lockheed Martin or, Skunk Works or any of these other aerospace mega giants that are creating UFOs. I really think that's what it is. I mean, we had the nuclear bomb for how many years before we let it go? We had the B-2 bomber. Remember the stealth bomber, the cool triangle thing? We had that thing scaring fucking farmers out in Nevada for years before we ever told anybody it existed. And it's out there doing all these secret missions. I remember there was this talk about I don't know if it was the SR-71 Blackbird, but at one point this spy plane asked for permission to get to 50,000 feet. And the air traffic controller said, well, there's no way that you can climb to 50,000 feet. He said, no, we're descending to 50,000 feet. Like, we've had this stuff for years. So who says we haven't cracked the anti-grav code on some degree? And of course, it's not ready to mass produce. I mean, I'm sure it's unpredictable at this stage, but we're out there testing it. And when they say, oh, there was a UFO crash over here and the governments came to retrieve it, of course they did. They don't want their technology out. That's what I think. Little green men? No. So I'm going to say that in my mind, excuse me, that coffee's catching up with me. I don't think the UFOs are from another planet. Okay, let's talk to the next one. This is one of my favorites because I don't know, but I've got my own theory. And this is the JFK assassination. Now, this ties back to the UFO thing. If you listen to some conspiracy theorists, they like to say, well, JFK told Marilyn and all these other people about this UFO program and blah, 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 this and blah, 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 that. And it couldn't get out. So the men in black had him offed. No, I don't think so. What I really think it was that when JFK got into office, I think the mafia helped him get into office. I think that Bobby Kennedy stepped out of his range when he said, well, the first thing I'm going to do is go after the mafia. It's like, well, remember who got you fucking elected. Tell me they can't get a man elected, and I'll tell you that my hair is white, is red right now, or pure white. It's already almost white. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't believe that. I really think that JFK got elected with the help of the mafia because his father was a notorious criminal, in with the bootleggers and all that shit. Got himself interacted with the wrong group. And once JFK got into office, he elected Bobby as his attorney general. He went right after the mafia. And I think they offed him. I really think that's what it was. I think Lee Harvey was kind of a patsy. I really do. Now here I am with the conspiracy theories, right? Like saying I believe it. Well, here's what I believe. That's all I'm telling you. I'm not saying it's real or didn't happen. It's like the UFOs. I can't prove they're not from another fucking planet. It's my theory. But with JFK, Jack Ruby was known. He had strip clubs and whorehouses. He was a known associate of the mafia. Why would he come and shoot Ruby? And why would the police let him right into the police station if he wasn't part of all of the things? If the cops weren't paid off, it makes mafia sense. So I really do think that JFK was off by the mafia. It wasn't CIA because of Maryland, or it wasn't because he knew about UFOs, or it wasn't Castro because of Bay of Pigs and all that shit. I really just do believe that it was the mafia. They got tired of it. They saw an opportunity. They took him out. But then again, who knows? Maybe it was Oswald. He was pissed off. Ruby didn't like what happened to his president. He shot JFK, and that's the end of it. You know what I mean? I don't know. I've seen the movie JFK. I've watched the Zapruder tapes, or the Zapruder film. I've looked into a little bit of it because I think it's fascinating. It was also one of my dad's favorite subjects, so it kind of gripped me, was the JFK thing. So I always got into it, but I always thought it was the mafia. I mean, they're a powerful organization. They can do shit like that, I guess. I don't know. Now, here's one. Let's go up to the next one. Now, I'm sure I'm going to lose viewers and subscribers the minute I say flat Earth. Oh my God. Let's break this one down. The Earth is flat. If you sail too far off of it, you're going to fall off. When you look in the sky, all those planets are round. So why are we the only flat one? Well, that's because everything in the sky is a hologram, and there's a dome over us that projects the night sky. Cool. Let's talk about it. The early sailors looked out on the ocean and they saw a horizon. And once they got to the end of that horizon, what they saw, they didn't see anything else. There was no land, there was no nothing, it was water. So the early mind thinks, well, maybe that's the end of the earth. Maybe that's where it gets flat. Maybe it's and the water falls off and we don't go over there. But then you got the Chinese and the Vikings and Columbus, which I'm going to say right now, the Chinese and the Vikings came to America well before Columbus. They were out there sailing the ocean blues before 1942s or 1492s. Sorry. Coffee hasn't kicked in or it's kicked in too much. I'm not sure. And of course we knew the world was round. But you got these people, I know two of them, that will fight you nails and nuts to tell you that the earth is flat. That if you go out past Antarctica, there's an ice wall that surrounds the whole plane and you can't get past it. And that's why you can't fly over Antarctica, is because it's not there. Guys, come on. Really? You really think the earth is flat? You've seen a globe. You've seen the science. You've seen everything out there that proves that the earth is round, and you're still going to take it to the mats that the earth is flat. So why? Why do these people fight so hard for the flat earth? And what evidence is there? Well, everything I've seen online, everybody who tries to talk about the flat earth is proven wrong. Some guy goes up in a plane to prove the earth is flat. And he comes down and he's like, oh shit, my measurements don't add up. Maybe the thing's round. Or or that dumbass that built a rocket to try to go up into the stratosphere to prove that it was flat and crashed and died. I mean, cool, you died for your belief, and I give you credit for it. You stood on the hill and you took it. Good. Cool. But the earth isn't flat. The moon isn't made out, it's not hollow. It's not made out of cheese. Atlas 3A is not a UFO coming from another planet, and it's not pulsing radio waves and everything I see on TikTok, or oh, it just spit out probes that are heading to all the 9 or 8 planets. No, fuck. You know that's not true. And even if it was true, why would that planet, or why would that ship spit out a probe to Mercury? It's literally a dead rock. And why does it choose those? Why doesn't it choose some other planetoids that are, like Pluto, mini planets? No, it's stupidity. It's people that want clicks is what I think it is. I know something you don't know. I'm smarter than you because I know something you don't know, and I'm going to die on this hill thinking that I know something you don't know. And if you don't like it, well, you're a piece of shit. That's what it feels like. Like, I had an argument with this guy that we've known. He's been a friend of the Fat and Spicy show since we started. He was actually one of the pioneers that got us started back in one of our cities. And we had a conversation one night. It started innocent enough. Well, let me get a cup of coffee. I'm getting dry throat. We have a conversation one night, and it starts with me saying, well, I know he said something. And I was like, that's dumb. But at least you're not a flat earther. Dude, the silence. And he's like, yeah, I am. I laughed it off. I'm like, no, come on, dude. There's no fucking way. You're a smart dude. You work for the government. He's like, no, yeah, I don't believe the earth is round. I think there's this, then this, that. And he's like, I asked him, like, what about the other planets? He's like, well, there's a dome over the flat earth that projects the planets and everything in the sky. So we've never left the dome. It's all fake. And I'm sitting there trying to think to myself, okay, first off, the amount of energy that it would take to project the day and night sky over us all the time, 24/7, would be an immeasurable amount of energy that you could put into our flat earth instead of projecting this thing and making us better. Like, we could become a whatever. But if it is projected, then what's out there? What are we floating in? What is this flat disc floating in? Is it floating in water? Is it sitting on a turtle's back supported by elephants like the Hindus say? I mean, really? We can't go over Antarctica in airplanes. Well, that's a bunch of bullshit. It's a no-fly zone because it's pristine. You only get certain permits to go over there because you're doing scientific research, but you can go over there. I mean, like I said, the scientists get to go. We don't get to go. And because we don't get to go, we feel left out. And of course, it's got to be, well, there's alien ships over there. There's monsters and there's an ice wall that we're protecting. God, does it always have to be so fucking dramatic? Can't the earth just be round and you're not allowed over there because there's people doing real science and they don't want you to fuck it up with your litter and you pee in your name in the goddamn pristine snow down there? They find meteorites that are, millions of years old that are stuck in the ice down there that they do. You come over with your snow machine and you start riding over that shit. What do you think's going to happen? You're going to fuck it all up. It's common fucking sense. Excuse my language. Now here comes the big one. This is the one I wanted to talk about all day. And it's this whole COVID thing. It started in a lab. It was somebody who ate a bat in a wet market. It was laid dormant in Antarctica ice and the scientists let it out. I don't know. But I just say that there's a billion people out there, just kind of like the Antarctica thing, with more degrees than a fucking thermometer that can work on this shit and know about it. I don't know anything about diseases. I don't know about molecular structure, but I'm going to listen to people who tell me to fucking take zinc chloride or whatever I don't know what it was. I'm just making up stuff to get better. Well, I'd rather listen to my doctor who says, well, maybe this vaccine might help you. Now, I'm not a vaxxer. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. Let me protect myself from whatever's coming down the pipe. And this is a vaccine that I took. I didn't want COVID. And now everybody's like, well, you go online and like, well, look how this magnet sticks to where I got the shot. Okay, you guys can like the vaccine or not like the vaccine. I don't care. But do you have to make stupid videos convincing people to your side? This is the thing about conspiracies that get me. You can't just believe it yourself. You have to shout it from the fucking rooftops. I am so right that aliens exist and that the CIA killed JFK because Marilyn Monroe had UFO stuff stuffed up her butt. I don't know. But why do you got to scream it? Why is every other TikTok people talking about shit that's not true, that doesn't exist, that's not real? Oh, Trump collapsed at his press conference today. And then you watch a TikTok video that's 2 minutes long and never once do they talk about what they said on the thing because it didn't happen. If it happened, I would have got it on official news channels, not on these TikTokers. But maybe that's my fault for indulging myself to watch these TikTokers. I don't know. But do you guys really think there's an ice wall around Antarctica and all this shit? I mean, does it make sense that this is a real deal? Does it make sense that the earth is actually flat when they've proven time and time again? And also, these flat earthers love the UFO conspiracy. So if the earth is flat and there's a dome over us projecting the night sky and the day sky and the planets and everything, then where are these UFOs coming from? Why aren't they bouncing off that dome? How come they're not? Back to the COVID thing. Should you wear a mask? Should you not wear a mask? Do what you feel is right. But if somebody's not wearing a mask and you're protected because you're wearing the mask. So why are you yelling at somebody else for not wearing the mask? And on the other side, if a store is like, you can't come in without a mask, we're just asking you, this is our private business. Don't come in without a mask. Why are these people not wearing masks coming in and starting shit? Go to a different store. It's all about getting angry. That's what COVID was. It was a test in anger, not in disease management, because nobody managed that right. Democrats, Republicans, it shouldn't have even been a politicized matter. It should have been a medical matter. Let's talk to all the doctors. Let's hear what they have to say. And then let's get this fucking thing fixed. But everything in the world has to be politicized. Even the goddamn conspiracy theories. It's political. And then Trump, I'm gonna release the JFK files. We never saw it. We basically saw the movie JFK with Kevin Costner in those files, which was fiction, for the most part. So what are we to believe? We're to believe that almost everything in this world is bullshit, except for what you can see and touch. What was this song? Heard it through the grapevine. Don't believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. I just open my eyes and I look. But the problem is, and this is the only place you're going to hear me talk, and I'm not sitting there grandstanding. I don't have a huge audience. What if I got 3 viewers right now while I'm doing this live today? Nobody gives a shit what I have to say. but I'm going to say it. Y'all are stupid. Y'all can't think for yourselves. Common sense. If it looks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's probably a duck. Why do you got to go reaching? Does it make you feel like you know more? Do you remember when Trump had the P-tape thing? Everybody was so fucking sure that Trump had a P-tape, that he pissed on some mattress or some whatever in Russia. Never came out. Conspiracy theory. Shit made up to make somebody look like an asshole. You got this Epstein thing. Now, I don't know. I'm going to wait because I don't know anything about it. I mean, that's not true. I sound like our Speaker of the House. Nobody told me. I don't know anything about it. What I'm going to say is you don't have to be guilty. There's nothing in there. If you're innocent, let it go. If you're guilty, let it go. It doesn't matter. It all of this is a hit job to prevent people from doing their job in the government on both sides. And why are they preventing? Like, what is there to gain from closing down the government? I mean, on both sides, the Democrats fought too. I'm a Democrat, and we fought hard to keep it closed for a while we were figuring out our shit and how to combat the Republicans. It wasn't, we're going to meet you guys in the middle on either side. It was, we're putting our feet in the ground and we're getting pissed off. So here we are. Cool. Whatever. But where's the P tape? So I'm defending Trump on that one, right? And the Epstein files. I'm not going to defend Trump on getting shot. The thing with the ear, dude, I've had tiny nicks with a razor, tiniest nicks that still leave a scar, that left this scar to this day. I can still feel the little line from where I nicked myself with the razor. He got shot in the ear and he looks perfect. So I don't know. Was he shot? Was he not? They had the pictures of him with the little thing on his hand, where he was supposed to like touch his ear and the blood squirt. I don't know. But again, conspiracy theory, right? I'll tell you what I think, honestly. I think he got shot. I think somebody shot at him. Somebody was pissed off, took a shot, hit him a little bit. Wasn't as bad as he said because he likes to exaggerate, but he got some blood. The only thing I didn't like was using that fight thing. I didn't like that. The Secret Service should have done their job and got him the fuck out of there right away. So I can see where these conspiracy theories bloom from, right? Uh, he was never shot. He had a blood pack on his hand. He covered it up. Look at his ear. There's no cartilage damage. Like I said, I've gotten nicked with a razor. Like I said, I can still feel the scar and it left a mark. I've seen his ear. It looks pretty good. So I don't know. But the most the most probable answer to that is that dude got shot, took a little shrapnel, probably behind the ear, but played it off. I don't know. Whatever. But why is it important? Why are we focused on Trump's P tape? Or was he shot? Or the Epstein? Well, the Epstein's kind of important. I get that. But all these little things. Why aren't we focused on the economy? Why aren't we is that what these conspiracy theories are all about? Is hiding the truth? Here's the smoke screen. Like, I'm a magician, right? I'm going to disappear an elephant. Look over there real quick while I flip the mirrors. Here's a bunch of smoke. You can't see me flip mirrors, so it looks like the elephant's gone. I think that's what a lot of it is, especially in the government. This is a conspiracy. That's a conspiracy. We've got this over here. This politician's doing this. Look who this guy's having sex with. They're only releasing this stuff to make anybody look bad. It has nothing to do with running the government. And I think it's a waste of fucking time. But we glom onto this on our news channels, don't we? We love it. And Trump knows it. And I give the dude credit. I'm not up at 3:30 in the morning putting out tweets. He fucking is. Good for him. The showman. I just wish the showman wasn't trying to show off in the Oval Office. I wish he'd be doing a job more. It'd be like, you pay me to do the show, and instead of doing the show, I'm off writing a book, my tell-all book. Well, that's not what I'm getting paid for. So you can be a showman, and you can do your job and have a lot of fun doing it, but I think still the people need to be served, and I think that's something that Biden wasn't good at it. I don't think Kamala would have been good at it. I don't think Trump's good. I don't know who would be good at it. That's the problem. I'm a Democrat and I don't trust my own fucking part. I don't know who would be good at running the government. I definitely would not be. I have no business anywhere in politics, and neither do 99.8% of the people in the world. The people that do need to be in politics, everybody's like, oh, Jon Stewart should run, or Stephen Colbert. No, 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 no. These guys, that's not their job. You need to get these political scientists, I think, the people that this is their job to study, who have put all this effort into it, to learn it from the ground up. This is just my opinion, guys. You can argue with me all you want, but I'm just saying, I think you need to go to the think tanks and the colleges and get a lot of these people who have studied this, like I said, tenured professors on both sides who have done this for a living, who really know the law. Because it seems like on both sides, nobody knows the fucking laws. Even the cops in the streets don't know the laws. Anyway, I'm getting off on it like a fucking conspiracy theorist. Um, okay. What I meant to talk about today was the conspiracy theories. I got off on the government. I'm really sorry, but I'm just kind of pissed off on both sides because the conspiracy theory does kind of tie into it all. It always has to do with the government. We'll get to that in a little bit. We'll go further into that as we go along. So let's talk about 9/11, the big one, right? I was working a security job driving home from work when I heard on the radio, I was listening to Imus, guy I used to work for, say, uh, a plane crashed into the World Trade Center tower, and we'll bring you more as we know. So I rush home. I expected it to be a light plane, just a tiny little Cessna or something that just clipped a wing on it or something. No. And then while I'm watching it, the second fucking plane hits. I'm like, Jesus Christ. And then you learn the names of the people that were involved, um, the terrorists. And you heard what happened on the other flight that crashed over the cornfield in Iowa, I think it was. And then you see the plane that crashed into the Pentagon. Everybody wants to say, everybody wants to analyze, everybody wants to look at the other side. Oh, if the plane hit, jet fuel doesn't burn that hot. If you look close, you can see the little flashes of explosions going off down the building. Why was these other buildings hit? Why did this building go down when it was nowhere near whatever? Guys, physics is physics, and they're going to work whether you like it or not. And you don't have to worry about the jet fuel. You have to worry about a plane crashing into a building. These guys were trained. They knew exactly where to fly these things. They knew exactly what to do. They trained. There's documentation. They all went to flight schools to learn how to fly these exact fucking planes. They ran these routes in their simulators. I mean, why does it have to be a conspiracy? Why does it have to be, oh, the government did it to its own? Why is it always the government's doing it to its own people? If the government's doing it to its own people, don't you think that would hurt the government? We pay taxes. Do you want to kill 3,000 taxpayers just to go get some oil? If you wanted to do that, you could start a war for another reason without killing U.S. citizens. Oh, well, it was bin Laden, but we're going to Iraq. Well, okay. I don't know. I don't know. But that's the thing, guys. And I'm the first to say, I don't know. Maybe it is all a conspiracy with 9/11. Maybe there were, inside jobs and the CIA was in there putting explosives in the thing, in the elevators with the place and the planes and the people and the thing. I don't fucking know. But is it really that big of a deal that so many people commit their lives to posting online and making videos and this and that's and writing book? I mean, it's all money. I mean, again, to go back to my friend AJ, he's not my friend, but the guy I like to watch, AJ from the Y-Files. There's always a book. Why is there always a book when it comes to conspiracies? Because it's all about money. That's really what it is, right? The moon landing, one of the biggest conspiracy theories out there. We never went to the moon. You can't get through the radiation belt, the Van Allen radiation belt. You look at the cameras and the lights and the stars and the way these guys fell. Let me tell you what. We were in a space race with Russia. Yuri Gagarin went up in Sputnik or in his orbiter. They put Sputnik up, they put him up in orbit, and we got freaked out. Oh shit, the Russians are doing more science than they're sciencing harder than we are. Well, yeah, of course they are. They're not worried about making, well, it's a communist state, right? So the money goes to the government. They have all the money they want to fund whatever they want. And if they want to make every other country in the world look inferior, they're going to put it into the space race. It's an amazing thing back in the 60s. It was futuristic. We were talking about, you know, first time real telescopes were looking at distant planets, and the technology was just becoming there to get the views of outer space. So of course it was fascinating. And why not the next frontier? You have fucking Star Trek out there talking about, you know, teleporters and warp speeds and shit. So JFK weaponized it. He weaponized the science to get us to the moon quicker. I do believe we went there. But I also believe, and this is the part of the conspiracy that I'm going to fall in line with. I also believe that we filmed backup footage on a soundstage. I do, in case it didn't work. In case we weren't there, we would have this footage to show the world that we actually did it. But I think we really did it. We didn't need the footage. That's the thing. We didn't need to use that footage, but that's the footage that got leaked, right? And everybody's like, well, look at the way this astronaut falls, and it looks like he's pulled back up on the strings. I looked at the video. It kind of does. But if you're in a space race, something so important, wouldn't you have a backup, a plan B? I know our government had a plan C, D, and E. And I think one of those plans was to film some footage just in case it didn't work that, hey, look, we went to the moon. But we have proof. We have other countries have orbiters that have seen the lander and the flag. So why would they lie? Is the whole world in on the conspiracies? You know, oh, Stanley Kubrick helped film it. You can see all the clues in all of his films. No, no, I've heard that theory and I looked it up, and it's just he was fascinated with outer space. Hence 2001: A Space Odyssey. He loved that shit. So yeah, he did put some spacey stuff into his other movies, but it was a tribute more than anything else. It wasn't that he filmed the moon landing. But then again, like I said, I'm sure the government might have had a plan B, and they did film some stuff on a soundstage, and maybe Kubrick was the guy. But there was a interview with Stanley Kubrick that came out where he admitted it. I filmed it. That was all me. We did it at this studio in this place, and it was all proven to be false. The guy that was in the video was not Stanley Kubrick. They found him, they interviewed him. He's like, yeah, I was paid a lot of money to do that. So again, who do you believe? With all of these conspiracy theories, the only answer is, and I don't know. Do you remember back when we were younger, when I was younger, um, Princess Diana? She was being chased by paparazzi. They got too close. The cars collided. She had an accident in a tunnel and she died in Paris. And it really sucked because I thought she was an amazing person. Even back then when I was a kid, she was all over the news. The one person that the Queen bowed her head for at a funeral was to Princess Diana. She was a great person. And all of a sudden, the fucking Weekly World News and the Star or the Sun or whatever the fuck it was, the tabloids at the newspapers, was she murdered by Prince Charles, or did Princess, or did the Queen and the royals have her killed because she was too outspoken? No, no, it was a freak accident. I honestly believe that. I know these paparazzi can get out of hand. You see them on TMZ and on these other, and you guys are the first to bitch about the paparazzi. You know, the celebrities. Why are these guys hassling Justin Timberlake or Bieber or whoever the fuck? Because that's their job. They want to get close and get the pictures, and a lot of times they're reckless. You see the stories of them coming in on a helicopter in a private wedding, taking fucking pictures because they get $100,000 for these exclusive photos. I'm absolutely sure that's what happened to Di. Some reporter just got too close to the car when he was chasing him for a photo or to get whatever video he wanted. There was an accident and she was killed. Well, how come it took the ambulance and this and that and whatever? Have you guys ever seen an accident? You ever called for an ambulance at an accident? You know that it doesn't take 2 minutes to get there. Sometimes it'll take 10 to 20, depending on how far the ambulance is out. But no, people don't think about this. They look at the very first thing and they're like, the ambulance wasn't there for 10 minutes, just enough time to let the driver kill her or whatever. It's just stupid. So you know something the rest of the world doesn't. Good for you. What does that get you? Unless you're writing a book or you're on TV about it. When I see that shit on the internet, the first thing I think of is you're a fucking idiot. You just are. Let's go back to the CIA or the AI. Oh, the AI is going to take over. It's going to ruin our lives. Didn't we say that about every technology? Oh, in 10 years, this was back in the 50s. In 10 years, automation's going to take over everything and there won't be any jobs. And it's always been a sci-fi thing where in the future, humans will always be. Remember Wall-E, where all these big blobs sitting in a fucking chair, having food shoveled into our mouth while TikTok is playing? Who's going to take care of the robots? I mean, there always got to be a human behind it, doesn't there? The guy at the toothpaste factory, what was that? Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, remember? His dad's job at the toothpaste factory was replaced by the robot that made toothpaste, but he had to fix the robot that took his job. There's always going to be somebody behind the button, a human pushing the buttons. I believe that. Is AI going to take over? Probably not. We don't even know how to use it right. We use it to make porn or to make deep fakes. And that's like 80 to 90 to 95% of what AI is used for. Nobody's using it for what it should be used for. And the stuff they put out to the public, well, the governments are, but the shit they put out to us, we don't even know. So when we talk to AI, and I've done it, I like to bet the horses. And every once in a while, I'll be like, hey, Siri, or not Siri, but to my AI co-pilot on my computer, my phone, I heard, hey, Siri. So that's another problem, right? It's always listening. I'll ask it to help me pick the result of a horse race. If AI was so amazing and could figure every probable and everything, then how come I'm not flushing in horse racing money? Because it doesn't know. What we get is an eighth of what the government has, and they still haven't figured it out. So is it going to be Terminator and Skynet and all that shit at the end of the world shutting us down? No. It's going to be a tool. And once we, just like the internet, the internet's going to be the end of everything. It's going to put the whole world together and we're all going to freak out because we shouldn't be that close to one another. And it's going to start and it's going to become sentient and this and that. Still hasn't become sentient. There's more crap on the internet than ever. I mean, everybody, back in the day, not everybody had, the internet. Now everybody's got it. And if you don't have it, there's programs to get for you. I drive by these tents that are like free cell phone. You have to make less than this a year and you get a free, I think it was an Obama phone or whatever it was, free cell phone. So now we have to be connected to the internet. We have no choice. Well, I don't want I put a piece of tape over my computer so that the government can't watch me. They're watching you 24/7 on your phone. They're watching everything you do. There's a chip in your car. They can see it. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's a fact. What's a conspiracy theory is when you take it to the point where you're putting tinfoil hats on your head and you're worried about every little thing. You're afraid to go out at night. And sometimes I think that a lot of these conspiracy theories, as we wind down to the last 20 minutes or so of Anson in the Morning, I think a lot of them are government organized to keep us, and this is a conspiracy theory, but to keep us wondering, to keep us guessing. It's misinformation to blind us from what's going on. But it's when people take these theories too far and then they start looking on their own and connecting the dots. You can give me a million numbers at random and I'll find a pattern if I want to. What's it called? The pareidolia effect. When we look for faces, we look for patterns where there are none, like the face on Mars. Another conspiracy theory. Oh, they're up there. There's buildings. There's pyramids. We've seen them. You fucking haven't. There's the face on Mars that was taken by the orbiter. But then we get better cameras and we get better technology up there, better orbiters going around. They know how to spot with the right things and they're looking. And guess what? When they look at the face on Mars, there ain't no face. You can see the rocks and the lines. And if the light's shining it the right way, yes, it will cast a shadow that looks like a face. But no, there's got to be aliens up there. There's got to be civilizations up there that are milling around for millions of years. I want there to be those civilizations up there. I wish the face on Mars was a fucking face. I wish that it was there for us to see. Come check out the face on Mars. Cool. It's not there, guys. Just like all of this stuff. Now, does the government do bad shit? Yeah. The CIA's put LSD in people's water supplies, a whole town, to see what would happen on the U.S. people, which they're not supposed to do. So yes, the government does do awful things. We tortured a lot of people at Guantanamo Bay, a lot. So we still do that stuff. There's still black sites and off the book activities. And I'm sure that if at some point I was ever accused of doing something or other, I'd get hauled off to a black site and I would have no access to a lawyer. And I'm sure they'd do terrible shit to me to get their answers, or to you or to whoever. It happens. But it doesn't happen so often. It's not every day like the TV shows, every episode of fucking whatever, whatever I'm watching right now is people getting yanked off the streets and being taken to dark sites and this and this. It's TV. Makes great stuff. Does it happen every day? Probably not. Probably doesn't even happen every year. And if these people are as bad as they say, isn't this something you kind of want to happen? Kind of nice to have our government control of these guys, and the only thing you worry about is what happens when it's you and you're innocent. I don't. I'm rambling now. So, why do we like these conspiracy theories? Is it because I know more than you? Does it make me feel superior? I had a friend who believed that every fucking plane that passed over the sky was leaking contrails. Well, I play a lot of Microsoft Flight Simulator, and my plane leaves these trails because of, when I hit certain altitudes and weather conditions. It's condensation, PMD, you're not wrong. But is it the government leaking chemicals to control us? Why would you do it so obviously? Why would there be lines in the sky? Why can't you just do it through the water supplies or do it through whatever, Why is it always got to be government control and they're putting chips in our heads and we're doing this and that? It's not that complicated, guys. It's not. It's actually pretty simple. The most ineffective program in the world is government. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And I'm going to light a cigarette for this one because I got something to say. You think that the government that bungles everything it gets his hands on can keep these secrets? We have whistleblowers like, oh, the budget's $10 over for this fucking toilet seat. Do we really, they get all worked up over it. You can't have these secrets out there and not 100 people come forward. What was it I heard in a movie one time? The only way that three people can keep a secret is if two of them are dead. I don't think the government's effective enough to keep secrets like this or to manufacture secrets like this. Now, when it comes to UFOs, do I think private companies are? Absolutely. 100%. You sign the NDAs, you do this and that, you work for corporate culture, you're making a lot of money working for these places, doing whatever, your anti-gravity work, sure. But that's a lot of people to keep this stuff quiet. How come nobody's ever come out about, the real meat and potatoes with real proof? If there's aliens and UFOs and I have a smartphone in my pocket, now this is something Neil deGrasse has said, and I will quote him. We have amazing, amazing cameras at our beck and call. I got one in my hand. I've taken a picture of the moon and seen craters with this fucking photo of this camera. Why has nobody had a really clear picture of a UFO? Or really clear, they're all blurry. They all look like fucking Bigfoot from the 70s or 60s, whatever. The famous one. Everything is nobody's ever had a serious shred of proof about anything. When I was watching those congressional hearings on the UFOs, I'm waiting with bated breath for one of these generals to say, I saw that thing. It was right in front of me. That body was there and it looked like this. But never had that happen. It's always, I was given this report by an unnamed person who I will release to you in chambers. It's bullshit then. That means it doesn't exist. It means it didn't happen. They wheeled out those aliens from Mexico. Remember those? They look like little terracotta statues, like little cement statues of aliens. And they're like, well, we've been looking at these things and now we're going to put them back in the vault and nobody can take a look at them. If you're a scientist in Mexico even, and you want to verify that this shit's out there, why don't you take pieces of this stuff and send it out to scientists around the world and say, let's get some DNA analysis. Tell us everything you know about this thing. Let's figure this thing out and solve the mystery of the aliens. They don't do that. Why? Because it's bullshit. Just like alien abductions are bullshit. It doesn't happen. I'm willing to bet you everything I own. I'm looking around the studio here and it ain't much. But I'll give you my life savings if you can bring me 100% undeniable, solid proof that you were in a UFO. How come when you're there, you can look around and you can see everything, and the aliens want to walk you around and have you carry these alien babies that are supposedly yours, but you couldn't pick up a stapler? You couldn't grab a little trinket and shove it up your ass to, a little memento of being there? It's always, no, I couldn't. I was too scared. Well, you weren't scared when they were walking you around the ship and you were in wonder asking questions. You could have been like, oh, what's that over there? Maybe I'll take that and stick it up my ass and I'll take it back to the National Enquirer and get $1 million. It's because it's not real, guys. There's no alien abductions. The government didn't kill JFK. Earth is not flat. It's round. Trust me, it's round, guys. Okay? COVID, I don't know. I really do think that it was a manufactured virus. I mean, we're always studying, and it doesn't have to be manufactured, but we're always studying viruses. The CDC's got a vault full of, they got the Black Plague in a test tube. So what happens? One of these things gets out. Okay? I think that's what happened. It was a mistake. Whether it was China, America, who knows? I'm sure we blamed and vilified China for whatever because they're the enemy, right? Which is stupid because some of the coolest people I know were Chinese people, and I love their food, by the way. I love cooking it. The Trump thing, the P tape, and the now there's this new thing that he blew Clinton. Shut up. I don't like Trump at all, but this is stupid. Of course he didn't. Of course he didn't. But you hate this guy so much. I don't like him at all as a president. I think he's the greatest showman on earth, and I love that about him. I really do. Like, I really wish I could pull off what he did. The guy's fucking brilliant at this stuff. Not so great at government, I don't think, but a great showman and wonderful at going out there and doing this stuff. So good for him. But was there a P tape that Russia had and whatever? No. Was he shot? Yeah, probably. You know, um, is he on the verge of death? Who knows? Old people are always on the verge of death, so who knows what. Was 9/11 an inside job? No. It's a bunch of pissed off Muslims who flew some planes into some buildings. That's all there's to it. They had a reason to do it. They did it. Was the moon landing faked? Yes and no. I think we went. I think we did everything we were supposed to do up there, but just in case, we had a plan B, which was these films that get leaked out and, oh, look, it's on a soundstage. Well, that one probably was. We already talked about Princess Di. Was it a hit job? No. It was a bunch of fucking paparazzi who couldn't keep their space. CIA or AI, I don't think it's going to take over. I think we're freaking out about nothing. But again, I could be wrong, and maybe they're already planning my demise as we speak. And I, for one, welcome my AI overlords. Oh. I think people like to know more than they think they know. I think people like to be so sure of what they know because it makes them feel good about themselves. Well, cool. Guess what? Anson likes you guys. That's all you guys need to feel good about yourself. I love all of you. Thanks for listening to an old man ramble today. I'm going to tell you the truth as we get going. Yes, I've been thinking about today's episode, but as you can tell, I really didn't write too much out. I wrote a little bit this morning, but I wasn't really planning to write a show. I was just going to talk about my day, but sometimes you got to get deep, and I wanted to talk about this conspiracy stuff because it weighs on me, and I finally thought I'd put it to bed. And yes, like with PMD in the chat here, there's definitely some aspects of 9/11 that are being hid, which adds credibility to the conspiracy theories. You're right. There's a lot of aspects of all of these things that are being hidden. But if there wasn't something to hide, why are they being hidden? Or are we just looking for clues where there aren't any? I don't know. Guys, thanks for joining me today. This has been a lot of fun. It got my wheels turning. Like I said, it's always fun to sit here for an hour and just jaw jack. I don't know who listens, but the fact that you guys tune in every now and then and take a peek at what I say means a lot to me. So yes, I need you guys to like this, whatever platform you're watching it on, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, like it, follow it, subscribe it, leave a comment down there, guys. Go back to the video the next day, give it a thumbs up, anything you can do to help the fucking algorithm, which I hate that that's the thing, right? Why do we always have to please the algorithm? I don't want to please the algorithm. I want to please the people. If the algorithm didn't exist, maybe more people would hear what I had to say and maybe draw some fucking common sense. So until next time, guys, I'm Anson. This is the morning. We're together. Use some fucking common sense. Don't be stupid. Don't jump to conclusions. Do your own research. Look into it. And if you do think you're right, you don't always have to preach about it. I'll see you next time.